Have you ever felt drained, unmotivated, or stuck without knowing exactly why? The truth is, most people carry silent poisons through life, invisible weights that quietly rob them of peace, focus, and strength. And they don't even realize it. Stoic philosophy teaches that true power comes not from adding more, but from letting go of what weakens us. In this video, you'll discover 7 things you must quietly eliminate from your life if you want to become mentally stronger, calmer, and more resilient. These aren't quick fixes. They're hard truths that lead to real transformation. If you're serious about mastering your mind and living with purpose, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more content like this. Let's get started.
Number 1.
The fantasy of someday. There's a quiet poison that seeps into almost every life. It's not loud. It doesn't scream or threaten. It whispers. And what it whispers is this: not now. Later one to no, sister one. Someday. This is the fantasy of someday. The comforting illusion that there will always be more time. That we can postpone the hard things and still become the person we want to be. But the Stoics knew the danger of this thinking. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the world during his time, wrote in his journal, not to impress others, but to remind himself of what matters. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. To the Stoics, the most dangerous form of procrastination wasn't putting off chores or deadlines. It was putting off becoming who you are meant to be. The fantasy of someday is a trap disguised as a comfort zone. It convinces you that you're not ready yet, that you need more time, more confidence, more certainty. But that day never comes. As Seneca wrote, life is long if you know how to use it. And yet most people die with their potential still sealed inside them because they were always waiting for the stars to align, waiting for a sign, waiting to feel ready. Stoicism rejects this passive approach to life. It teaches us that the present moment is all we truly have. Everything else, memories of the past, dreams of the future, is uncertain. The only time you can act is now, and the only path to strength is through action. Ask yourself honestly, how much of your suffering comes not from doing, but from not doing? From carrying dreams that have grown heavy from neglect? The truth is, delay weakens the soul. It becomes easier to settle, to justify, to retreat. Over time, the identity of the person you could have been fades into the background, replaced by excuses, regret, and resentment. Epictetus didn't sugarcoat it. He asked bluntly, how long will you wait before you demand the best of yourself? That question is a challenge. Not to rush, but to begin. The Stoics didn't chase urgency, they cultivated presence. They didn't wait for perfect conditions, they acted within imperfect ones. They didn't ask for easy paths. They asked for the strength to walk hard ones with clarity and virtue. If you're waiting to start something, anything, ask yourself, what exactly are you waiting for? What guarantee are you hoping for? If death knocked today, would you regret how much time you spent preparing instead of doing? The harsh truth is that someday is not a date on the calendar. It's a graveyard for dreams, a silent killer of character. So let it go. Let go of the illusion that more time means more opportunity. The Stoic path is not about waiting for a better life. It's about choosing to live better right now. Start small, start messy, but start. Take one step toward the thing you've been postponing. Not because you're ready, but because you're alive. Because today is all you really own. And because someday might never come. Number 2, waiting in March. Relationships that drain you. There is no faster way to lose your peace than to stay connected to people who constantly rob you of it. The Stoics were clear. Your inner tranquility must never be placed in the hands of others. And yet many of us remain entangled in relationships that slowly erode our strength. People who take without giving, who expect support but never offer it, who drain our emotional energy under the disguise of connection. Seneca warned, associate with people who are likely to improve you. Welcome those whom you yourself can improve. The process is a mutual one. Men learn as they teach. But how many of our relationships today are truly mutual? And how many are one-sided, held together not by virtue or growth, but by guilt, habit, or fear? Stoicism does not call for cruelty, but it demands clarity. Emotional leeches are not always obvious. Sometimes they come in the form of old friends, even family members, people we've known for years whose presence we've grown used to, even if it's toxic. But familiarity is not a reason to tolerate what stunts your growth. A person's history with you doesn't entitle them to your future. The Stoics valued relationships, but not at the cost of their reason or peace. Epictetus said, "Keep your attention focused entirely on what is truly your own concern, and be clear that what belongs to others is their business and none of yours." And when someone constantly brings drama, chaos, or emotional baggage into your life, when they make their problems your responsibility, you must ask, is this helping me live with virtue? Or is this pulling me away from who I'm trying to become? Detaching from draining people doesn't mean you hate them. It means you've stopped letting them control your emotional world. It means you've chosen to protect your limited time and energy. Because the truth is, you can't live a strong, focused life while constantly being pulled into other people's storms. If someone only comes to you to vent, to complain, to unload their issues, but never listens, never uplifts, never gives back, you're not in a relationship. You're in a transaction, and in Stoic terms, it's a transaction that bankrupts your peace. You don't owe anyone constant access to your mind, your time, or your emotional energy. Set boundaries, not to be cruel, but to be just. Clear boundaries are not signs of weakness. They are acts of inner strength. They say, I value my life too much to allow it to be hijacked by dysfunction. Letting go of draining relationships can be painful, but pain is not the enemy. Stagnation is. Choose the kind of people who challenge you to grow, who speak truth with kindness, who help you stay anchored in reason, because your environment shapes your mindset, and your mindset shapes your destiny. In the end, the people around you either feed your flame or extinguish it. Choose wisely. Number 3, the need for external validation. There is a subtle addiction that ruins more lives than most people realize. It's not alcohol. It's not fame. It's the need for approval, for applause, attention, validation. This craving may wear 1,000 masks, but at its core, it reveals a fragile ego begging to be told, you are enough. So in Stoicism, that dependence is a form of slavery. Epictetus said it plainly. If you want to be free, then learn to disregard what others think of you. External validation is a trap because it places your self-worth in something you do not control. The moment you allow your identity to be shaped by how others see you, you surrender your freedom. You become like a ship blown in every direction. Praise lifts you up, criticism crushes you, and your inner peace, it's gone. The Stoics believe that a good life is lived in alignment with nature, meaning with virtue, reason, and inner strength. But how can you live in accordance with your values if you're constantly chasing likes, compliments, or social approval? You can't. You'll betray your own judgment just to please the crowd. You'll act, speak, and even think based on how others might react, not on what you know is right. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor surrounded by flattery and power, still wrote to himself, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." Or think about that. We ignore our own voice and elevate the opinions of those who don't truly know us. People who won't be there when we suffer or when we die. Why do we let them shape our decisions? When you rely on external praise, you become trapped in a cycle of performance. You say yes when you mean no. You post for attention instead of expression. You seek approval for who you are instead of working to become someone you can approve of. But the Stoic solution is radical and liberating. Stop performing. Stop waiting to be seen. Turn your gaze inward. Ask yourself, am I acting with courage, with honesty, with discipline, that's all that matters. Because in the end, no amount of applause can replace a clear conscience. Seneca advised, be your own spectator, seek your own applause. Not because it's easy, but because it's the only path to lasting peace. Validation from others is fleeting. One day they cheer, the next they criticize. But validation from within, from living a life of integrity that's unshakable. So eliminate the need for external validation. Reclaim your self-respect. Choose the harder path, the one where you are not performing for the world, but living in accordance with reason and virtue. In that stillness, you'll find something far greater than approval. You'll find freedom. Number 4, overexposure to noise and distractions. We live in an age of constant input, an endless stream of noise disguised as information, of distraction disguised as connection. From morning until night, our senses are flooded with headlines, gossip, notifications, and content designed to steal one thing: our attention. And the Stoics would see this for what it is: mental pollution. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, if you seek tranquility, do less. Or rather, do what's essential, because most of what we say and do is not essential. Serenin Hanoma. Now imagine how much of what we consume isn't essential either. We scroll, click, refresh, searching for something we can't even name. The Stoics call this a lack of purpose. It's not just time we're losing, it's clarity, it's depth. It's our ability to think and live deliberately. Modern noise isn't just loud, it's seductive. Social media trains us to chase novelty. News cycles train us to react emotionally. Constant stimulation dulls our ability to focus, to reflect, and to sit in silence with our own thoughts. And when we lose that silence, we lose ourselves. The Stoics prized inner stillness. But stillness is not just the absence of movement. It's the presence of self-mastery. It's the ability to be with your own mind without needing to escape it. But how can we reach that stillness when we're always plugged in, always reacting, always scrolling? Epictetus warned, if a person gave away your body to some passerby, you'd be furious. Yet you hand over your mind to anyone who comes along. Every time you click on something meaningless, every time you let gossip or outrage hijack your emotional state, you're surrendering your mind. You're letting strangers dictate your inner world. The truth is, most of what demands your attention is not worth it. The Stoics knew that energy and focus are finite, that to become wise, to live with virtue, you must guard your attention like a sacred resource. Because it is sacred, what you focus on becomes your reality. If you fill your mind with noise, your life will feel chaotic, even if nothing around you has changed. So start eliminating the mental junk. Unfollow accounts that promote envy or outrage. Turn off notifications that don't serve your purpose. Spend time with books, with nature, with stillness. Not because it's trendy, but because it's the Stoic way. To seek clarity over confusion, essence over excess. You don't need to be plugged into everything. You need to be anchored in something. Let that be your values, your reason, your chosen path. And you'll find, beneath the noise, something rare in today's world: peace. Number 5, false obligations. Most of the chains that bind us aren't physical. They're invisible. They take the form of duties we never agreed to, expectations we never questioned, and roles we've silently inherited. These are what the Stoics would call false obligations. Actions we take not out of virtue or conscious choice, but out of guilt, fear of judgment, or a vague sense that we should. The world is full of people ready to write your script for you. Family, culture, colleagues, even friends, each with their own vision of who you should be and what you should do. But Marcus Aurelius reminds us, do not waste the remainder of your life in thoughts about others when you do not refer your thoughts to some object of common utility. In other words, stop living reactively. If your choices are rooted in appeasement rather than purpose, you are not living. They are living through you. A Stoic life is one of intention, not compliance. It is not rude to say no to something that does not align with your values. It is rude to yourself to keep saying yes just to avoid discomfort. Many people attend events they loathe, maintain toxic relationships, or follow soul-deadening routines simply because it's expected. But expected by whom? And at what cost? Epictetus taught that true freedom comes from understanding what is within our control, and the most essential thing we control is the direction of our lives. Yet every time we accept a false obligation, we surrender that control. We live on someone else's terms, spending precious energy on tasks that bring no meaning and violate our inner compass. This isn't about becoming selfish or isolated, it's about clarity. Stoicism doesn't demand you withdraw from the world. It demands that you engage with it consciously. Ask yourself, is this action a reflection of my deepest values, or am I doing this to avoid disapproval? Because approval, once earned by compromise, becomes a prison. You become a performer, not a person. Seneca warned, "You act like mortals in all that you fear, and like immortals in all that you desire." We fear disappointing others as if their opinion defines our fate. Yet we pursue every social obligation as if we'll live forever. But you won't. Your time is finite. And every time you give it to what doesn't matter, you rob yourself and the world of your truest contribution. So release the burden of false duty. You owe no one your silence, your presence, or your energy if it comes at the cost of your integrity. True duty arises from virtue, from chosen commitments rooted in love, justice, or wisdom, not from manipulation, fear, or inherited roles. The Stoic path is narrow. It requires courage, but it leads to peace. And peace only comes when your life is your own. Not a performance, not an apology, not a desperate attempt to please, but a declaration. This is who I am. This is the life I choose. Number 6, the habit of complaining. Complaining is a subtle but relentless thief of strength, quietly eroding your spirit and your power over life. It often feels like a natural response, an outlet to express frustration, a way to share burdens, or a call for sympathy. Yet for the Stoics, complaining was a clear sign of surrender. It revealed an unwillingness to accept reality, an avoidance of responsibility, and a reckless waste of the limited energy we all possess. Marcus Aurelius taught, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." For now, obstacles are not excuses for bitterness. They are the very challenges that forge resilience and virtue, but too many fall into the trap of endlessly vocalizing their grievances, replaying the same frustrations like a broken record, all while moving further away from peace and progress. When you complain, your mind is trapped in a cycle of negativity. You focus relentlessly on what's wrong, rather than on what can be done. This fixation wastes your emotional and mental energy, leaving you drained and reactive instead of clear-headed and proactive. The Stoics understood that energy is not infinite. Where you place your attention shapes your entire experience of life. Complaining scatters your energy, diminishing your capacity to confront life's inevitable hardships with grace and reason. Epictetus offered this profound reminder. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Complaining is the easiest and weakest reaction, one that relinquishes your power to external circumstances. It signals to yourself and others that you are a victim, caught in a web of blame and helplessness, rather than an agent of change and self-mastery. Stoicism calls us to a higher path, to accept what we cannot control with calm dignity, and to direct our efforts only to what lies within our power to change. This does not mean you must deny your emotions or pretend hardships do not affect you. The Stoics valued honest self-reflection and emotional clarity. The difference lies in how you respond. Instead of complaining, they urge you to act decisively. If something is within your control, change it with resolve. If it is outside your control, accept it with serenity. Complaining neither solves problems nor eases pain. It only prolongs suffering and saps your strength. Seneca's counsel remains timeless. Throw aside all hindrances and distractions, and you will find a quiet mind. Complaining is one of the greatest hindrances to tranquility. It clutters your thoughts, undermines your resilience, and distracts you from living a virtuous life. By consciously rejecting complaints, you cultivate a mind fortified with calmness, clarity, and courage, the true armor of the Stoic sage. So eliminate this silent poison from your life. Replace it with gratitude for what you do have, acceptance for what you cannot change, and courage to face every challenge head-on. In doing so, you build an unshakable fortress within, a mind and spirit that no complaint, no misfortune can topple. Number 7, self-pity. Self-pity is one of the most corrosive poisons to the human spirit. It quietly seeps into the cracks of our suffering, convincing us that we are helpless victims of circumstance, deserving of sympathy but powerless to change. The Stoics saw self-pity not as a natural reaction, but as a choice, and a dangerous one at that. It is a surrender, a refusal to accept responsibility for your own life. Epictetus famously declared, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Self-pity is the opposite of this teaching. It traps you in a cycle of blame and despair, where external events become excuses to give up, to withdraw, to feel sorry for yourself. It tells you that your suffering is unfair, your wounds irreparable, your future bleak. But the Stoics remind us that suffering is universal and inevitable. What separates the weak from the strong is not the absence of pain, but the response to it. Seneca wrote, "Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body." When you indulge in self-pity, you weaken your mind. You reinforce helplessness instead of resilience. The Stoics teach that adversity is an opportunity, a challenge to rise, to grow, and to demonstrate virtue. The only thing within your true control is your attitude, your decisions, your actions. Self-pity blurs this truth. It clouds judgment, drains energy, and stunts growth. Instead of facing hardships as teachers, it paints them as curses. Instead of seizing control of your fate, it hands power to despair and defeat. To overcome self-pity, the Stoics urge radical acceptance. Accept what life has dealt you without resistance or complaint. But acceptance is not resignation. It is clarity. It is the conscious decision to move forward despite pain, to find meaning in struggle, and to act with courage regardless of circumstance. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Your suffering is not a barrier, but a path. Walking that path with dignity is the essence of Stoic strength. When you reject self-pity, you reclaim your power. You stop being a passive sufferer and become an active participant in your own life. This transformation is not easy. It requires relentless discipline and honesty, but it is the foundation of true freedom. So quietly eliminate self-pity from your life. Embrace resilience. Face your challenges with courage. And in doing so, become unbreakable. You've just uncovered 7 silent poisons that quietly drain your energy, steal your peace, and hold you back from living a strong, unbreakable life. The Stoics teach us that true power lies not in accumulating more, but in shedding what weakens us. By eliminating procrastination, toxic relationships, the need for approval, distractions, false obligations, complaining, and self-pity, you take control of your destiny. Remember, this journey isn't easy. It requires courage, honesty, and relentless action. But every small step forward builds a fortress of inner strength that no external force can shake. If you found value in these timeless lessons, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more insights that help you live with purpose, clarity, and resilience. Your best life begins with the choices you make today. Choose wisely